one of the things, though, that we have to keep in mind, Donald Trump's going to be saying some crazy ass stuff. I think occasionally we will play some of that stuff because it's crazy. But I think we're also going to try and just watch what is done as opposed to talked about, because for so much time during the first 4 years, the press spent a lot of time, and we did too, chasing what he was saying and trying to divine what was going to happen from that. And, we hear his advisors coming out and saying, well, the tariff stuff is going to be a little bit more selective than we thought. And then he comes out and says, no, it's not. And we will know one way or another. I mean, I guess if we had an import business, we would be a little bit more concerned with trying to read the tea leaves. But in many respects, that's a fool's errand. We will do it on occasion. The Greenland stuff is, about acquiring mineral rights. It's about acquiring perhaps a potential route to sell liquid natural gas. And
it's our top military. It's now I think officially the largest military base that the United States has in the world. It's the shortest route for a nuclear weapon to go across the North Pole to Russia. So there's some jockeying there for strategic positions. And it has a fourth of those rare earth minerals that are necessary for electric vehicles and batteries and things like that, which, parts of South America are subjected to U.S. Extraction there. So when Donald Trump talks about literally owning it, he's not just coming up with a funny little country off the top of his head. He's putting together little pieces of what he's heard about its strategic importance and just like making it a real estate thing.
And I'm not convinced that Trump's broad strategy isn't to I'm gonna basically say we're gonna buy Canada and buy Mexico and Greenland, and then in the end we just got Greenland. But here is Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding to Donald Trump, saying that he wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
that's populism for you.
Well, but here is, she as a good politician will, regardless of what their sort of like domestic politics are, she's going to use this to enhance her popularity as well, by basically saying, pulling on nationalistic heartstrings in her country. Here she is.
There's subtitles here if you want to read.
Obviously, the name of the Gulf of Mexico is recognized by the United Nations. Why don't we call this Mexican America? It has a nice ring, right? It was called that since 1607.
La Constitución de Apatzingán era de
América Mexicana. Patzing in Constitution was for, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Entonces,
then
vamos a llamarle
let's call it Mexican America.
Se oye bonito, ¿no?
Sounds nice, right?
Y Golfo de México.
And the Gulf of Mexico, because it's been called that since 1607,
y además está
and it's internationally recognized.
Bueno, obviamente.
Okay, but so there it is.
Can you contrast that with this photo I just sent from November, like 2 or 3 weeks after Donald Trump got reelected? So this guy now having to resign, Justin Trudeau.
Because of Trump. Chrystia Freeland, his finance minister, left his government because she said Trudeau wasn't taking Trump's incoming tariff threats seriously.
Because he went to kiss the ring, and Sheinbaum from the beginning has been thumbing her nose at Donald Trump in an adversarial way. And this isn't just to say that I agree with her approach more than Trudeau's on the tactics, because I do. It's also to show that her, AMLO, and then her as his successor, within the Mexican political context, they have so much more credibility among the population. Yep. AMLO left office after actually being much more leftist. You could say the liberals in Canada are much more analogous to the Democrats here. Yep. Delivering for people in Mexico, Morena, and Sheinbaum had that credibility where he left office with a 60% approval rating, and she won that election easily because she was his successor. So she has the political capital to be more adversarial with Donald Trump, both the proclivity to do it because she's more of a leftist than a guy like Trudeau, and the ability to do so. And so, like, this is a good lesson.
Because the working class is not unaware of what the Morena party did for them, as Chuck Schumer says about Democrats. It's very clear that they massively raised the minimum wage, and they got medical in-house visits for poor people. Like, it's obvious, and it's not a messaging problem. It's just the policy that they pursued.
Hey, folks, once again, Trump's personnel picks are all about loyalty over expertise. He named election denier Kari Lake to lead the Voice of America. That's the U.S.-funded broadcaster meant to provide unbiased news to global audiences. Well, Ground News found hundreds of articles covering this, all concerned about VOA's editorial independence. But you'll still find the America First crowd arguing that this appointment will, quote, restore balance and fairness. Yeah. In reality, we're losing independent journalism and government transparency, setting the stage for propaganda masquerading as credible information. That's why I've trusted my partners at Ground News for years to help me critically analyze the news I consume. They're the only app that's not telling you what to think. Instead, they gather all the headlines, organize them by story, and then add data to each outlet's bias, their credibility, and their financial incentives, so you know exactly who's benefiting from the spin. Take it one step further and filter out questionable sources to stay on top of what's happening without getting buried in the noise. Trump is shaping our future in ways that's going to last for decades, and if we're not paying attention, we're letting history repeat itself. So stay engaged with Ground News, who's fixing what's breaking right in front of us. Trust and transparency in the media. My viewers save 50% on the same unlimited access Vantage plans that I use every day to track these stories and prep for my show. So go to ground.news/majority or scan my QR code to subscribe. Once you start reading the news this way, it's going to be very hard to go back. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.